in the building for Creative Insight Podcasts. I'm here with the legendary Laurie Lyle. Big up yourself, man.
Big up, man. Big up.
Blessed for featuring on the show today.
Yeah, man.
How was the journey in here, man?
Yeah, not too bad. There's a bit of traffic because there's a couple of sporting events today. Arsenal ladies played Chelsea, and then Tottenham are playing Newcastle a bit later on. So it was a bit of traffic. But I've been looking forward to this, man. I mean, I like the setup. I like what the work that you guys do. We did a couple of interviews previously, and yeah, man. I like the vibe, so I'm here.
Thank you.
It was a pleasure. It was a pleasure. It's an honour to be here.
Thank you, man. So we met at the Joshua Buatsi press conference, and we're still waiting for that fight to happen. Yeah.
I think it's, as you know, the original fight got cancelled. There was an injury to my boy Dan. Shout out to Dan Aziz.
Big up Dan.
And he's the fight has been set for February now. I think is it February the 3rd?
I think
like
might
early
be,
February. Early February.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, man. Nice. Who's your pick for the fight?
Well, you know what? I'm familiar with both guys. I know Dan a lot more. They're both very good fighters, and I think if we're being honest, you would have to say that Joshua Buatsi is probably the favoured fighter. But I think this fight has come at the right time for Dan. I really do. I mean, I've been following him since he was a small hall fighter, fighting in York Hall in front of a couple of hundred fans. And to see the way his career's progressed, and he's got better and better with every fight. And so often what you find in sport is it's all about the timing, you know what I mean? So this fight here, big fight, it could have come at the right time for him. Whereas Joshua Buatsi, he was that guy coming out of the Olympics, he got bronze medal. He was much sought after, everyone was talking about him, signed up with Eddie Hearn. Big things were expected. But I think if we're being honest, he's not quite, for whatever reason, I mean, you know, I'm sure he can elaborate on that. For whatever reason, his career has not hit the heights yet that people are expecting. So it's like a crossroads fight, you know what I mean? You got Dan, he steadily built himself up. You got Joshua, he's done good. He's unbeaten. Lots was expected of him, but his career's not quite hit the heights. So they're coming together now. It's like a crossroads fight.
This could be the moment.
So I'm backing my boy down, man. I'm backing my boy down.
Nice.
You
We
know
look forward to seeing that, man, in February.
Yeah.
Nice, cool. So I, before that, I wanted to circle back now. Of
course.
Circle back to yourself, and we'll talk a bit about you. So where did you grow up? Like, which area?
Right, so I was born in northwest London. Family, my brothers, Robbie, who you obviously know, Gary, Steve, mum and dad, who have deceased now, so... You know, God bless their souls. But yeah, so we were born in North London, Northwest London to be exact. At a young age, we moved to Luton. So I spent a lot of time in Luton, grew up there my formative years, went to school there, went to college there. And then after I finished college, I moved back to London. And I've been between the two places since. Because Luton, you probably know, is not too far from here. It's just up the road, really, 30-odd miles. So we've got family and friends in both places.
Okay.
So, but I do live in London now. I live in Enfield, so yeah, it's all good.
Nice. And like, so you had you grew up in Northwest as well, and Luton. So what made you pick Arsenal over Luton then?
That's a good question.
Arsenal are a better team, but
you know what? It's a family thing because like all of the family support Arsenal, and I couldn't really tell you why that is. Because a lot of times, especially with siblings, you have what they call sibling rivalry. So typically, you might get one brother supports a team, and then you get the other brother because he wants to be a rival.
That's it.
But we all
have trouble.
But you know what it is? I'm going to keep it 100. So growing up, obviously, when I grew up, I'm a bit older than you guys. So there was quite a lot of racism around in football. Some would argue that there still is, but then times it was, you know, in your face. It was overt, right? So Arsenal are one of those clubs, they all had black players playing for them. The fan base was quite, how can I put it, quite mixed, quite diverse. So we kind of gravitated to Arsenal, you know what I mean? And because it's a North London club, Luton's not far from North London, it was quite easy to get to. And even my cousins, they're all Arsenal fans as well. So it's like a family type of thing, you know? So you're just kind of born into it. And we all became Arsenal fans. And obviously I was a big fan of man like Ian Wright, David Rocastle, all them man from back in the day. So you know.
David Seaman as well.
Yeah, man, all them man. But I think people like Ian Wright was a big inspiration to a lot of black guys like myself because growing up, you know what I mean, you gravitate to...
because wasn't he from Peckham?
Yeah, I think he's from. I know he's from South London. Yeah, I don't know if it's Peckham, Brixton Way. Yeah, I think you're probably right. I think it is Peckham.
Yeah, so that was that. Even seeing that reflection on screen, it was like, wow, okay, cool. Man. It's like empowering, right?
Yeah, because obviously, like when you're growing up, you're looking for role models, people that look like you that are doing well. You gravitate towards them. It's just natural. So you see a guy like that, especially as I said, with the way football was in those days, it was quite racist. And you see a guy like Ian Wright, David Rocastle, Paul Davis, all them, man, they're doing well. And you think to yourself, yeah, man, you know what I mean? I want to back them, man.
Yeah,
and it's just a natural progression. Yeah. So, yeah, that's what it is. And I've been an Arsenal fan. You know what I mean? My kids are Arsenal fans, you know what I mean?
I know with me, like, my introduction was, like you said, born into it. My dad supported Arsenal, my family supported Arsenal. So by default, I was Arsenal. But I grew up in South London, so I guess you grew up in South, so I guess our local team would have been like Palace.
Right.
Or, I don't know, West, maybe, Palace, Crystal Palace, because we grew up in the South.
Yeah, I don't think it would have been Millwall.
Millwall, man. Because I was a fan of Henry.
You're right.
That was my introduction, seeing Henry. And like, who else? Like Ashley Cole.
Yeah,
I grew up in because I started supporting maybe around 2000.
Because that's where Ashley Cole made his name at Arsenal. You know what I mean?
There you go.
A lot of people who come after would identify him as a Chelsea legend, which he was, but Arsenal is where his
foundation. His foundation was Arsenal.
Absolutely. You know what I mean? So you're like the generation after me, because I was like in that first generation, first wave. We was looking at man like I said, Ian Wright, Rocastle, Paul Davis, going back, you know what I mean? And then you guys were a little bit later. Henry would have been the guy that really catapulted everything, you know what I mean? So
That's it. And like so before Arsene Wenger, before the transition into him being manager, like how did you find going to Arsenal games, and how did you find their performances as a team as well?
Well, Arsenal have always been a big club, you know what I mean? So I used to love travelling up and going to Highbury as it was then, you know what I mean? And it's one of them kind of iconic football grounds in the country. And that was always like a great day out. Like we used to come up, bunk the train, you know what I mean? And just enjoy the whole day, you know what I mean? It's funny because I remember I was chatting to a friend of mine the other day who first started going to Arsenal games on a fairly regular basis. So what we would do is like go up on the train and go to a game, and then go down to West End after. We go things like the 100 Club. You heard of that?
Nah.
It's in the West End. It's a long-standing like jazz club.
I haven't.
Is it?
Yeah.
Okay.
So we used to make a day of it, do a bit of shopping, and end up. Yeah, man, it's great. It's great times. Great times.
Nice.
So
And like, did you go with Robbie as well to games too?
Yeah. I used to go with Robbie. I had a couple of other friends I used to go with. Even a couple of men that weren't like legitimate Arsenal fans, but they just wanted a day out. Yeah. They would come with us.
They'll go for it too.
Because Luton, I'm not sure if you've been there, but it's always had a tradition of having a lot of Arsenal fans in Luton, both black and white.
Okay.
Yeah, so match days, there'll be quite a few people going up on the train that are actually Arsenal supporters, you know. So
So and from there now as well, we're gonna go into the mindset insight. So we're gonna delve deeper into kind of what you do as well, and some mindset hacks or ways that you might have overcome certain obstacles or challenges that you've been throughout your career. So first of all, for those that are not familiar with you, what's your role? Like, what is your career? What's your job? What do you do?
Right. Currently, I work with my brother Robbie. Robbie, who's he owns AFTV, and I work with him. I'm one of the presenters on the channel. So we've got a close working relationship. I'm not involved in a business sense, but I do more content and things like that, shows and stuff like that. Similar to when we met. We've got a couple of subsidiary channels. It's called DR Sports.
DR Sports,
There's a boxing channel that we got as well, because I'm a big boxing fan, so I do that too.
I did not see it. There we go. What's the name of the boxing channel?
It's called DR Sports Boxing.
DR Sports Boxing.
Yeah.
All right, cool.
Yeah, so
make that go on the screen.
So there's a lot of stuff that I do there, and I'm enjoying it, man. I mean, previously I worked more in the corporate world. I worked for a series of councils. I worked for Lambeth Council. Luton Council, Ealing Council for a number of years, and I was doing what they call committee management. I'm not sure if you've heard of that or familiar with that.
Not much, yeah.
It's basically local government, and it's you're working with local councillors, the politicians, and you're attending high-level meetings, and you know what I mean, you're basically providing the administrative support. So I used to have a team of about 4 people. I would manage them, and we would like what they call service the council's administrative structure. Okay. So, yeah, it's good, man. Yeah. I enjoyed it.
What did you prefer? Would you prefer the corporate side or being in front of the camera presenting and content creation?
Good question. You know what? I enjoyed both, but I think I would have to say that what I'm doing now I find a bit more rewarding and fulfilling, because obviously I'm working with my brother. I'm trying to help him to achieve his goals, and obviously that's a big motivation. But yeah, I mean, I did enjoy my previous work as well, but obviously this is a little bit more personal. Yeah. So yeah, and not only that, it's sport, and I love sport. I've been loving sport from I was a youth. So yeah, man.
Nice. And like, that question just left my head. You know when that happens?
It's easily done.
No, because I had one. No. It was yeah, that was it. So when you first saw that Robbie was doing like AFTV, when you first saw it pop up on YouTube, or maybe told you about it, like, what was your reaction? Did you think, this could work, or was it like, ooh, it's a bit risky? What do you think?
No, exactly that. I thought, right, here he goes again. Because one thing about my brother, Robbie, he's always had what I call an entrepreneurial spirit. So from way back, he's always been, you know, you get them man there that like, they want to carve out their own future. He's had other jobs like surveying and stuff like that, but he's always been that guy that wants to be in control of his own destiny in terms of his employment. So I'll give you a quick example. So over the years, he's had various businesses. He's run nightclubs, he's managed clubs, he had a promotion company, stuff like that. So he's done a lot of different things. So I think it was back in 2012 when he come to me and he said, this is what I'm going to be doing. Like, you know what I mean? The kind of social media age was just kicking in.
That's it,
and he was talking about doing this AFTV thing, Arsenal Fan TV. I was
Arsenal
like,
Fan TV,
that's interesting, And this was way back in 2012. So he basically started out with a camera and a microphone. It was him and a guy called Ty. Is it Ty? No, not the Ty you know.
Oh, yeah.
Tao, sorry.
Okay.
I mispronounced his name, Tao, who lives in Milton Keynes. And they just had this idea. To be fair, I think, rewind a little bit. I think that, to be fair, I think the idea was born out of, are you aware of IFL TV? They cover boxing. And a guy called Coogan, shout out to Coogan if he's listening. So he was doing some boxing stuff similar to, you know what I mean, like at events and interviewing boxers and stuff like that. And my brother, he called my brother because they used to work together on various other projects. So my brother went along to a couple of his boxing events, saw that, and he thought, right, you know what, maybe I could adapt that to football, you know? And that was the genesis of the idea, and it just went from there. You know what I mean? So when he first told me, I was still working, I think I was working for Ealing Council then, and he told me about it, and I thought, that sounds interesting. And he said he was going to give up his job to do that. I was like, right, that's a brave one, you know what I mean?
He took the risk, man.
Yeah.
And it paid off,
He's a risk taker,
Paid off,
And it's just grown progressively since then. So I come on board, even though I was doing little bits and that, helping out, I come on board full-time around about, was it 2018? Because in 2017 I had a family tragedy. I lost my daughter.
I'm sorry to hear that, man.
Yeah, man, it's a tragic time in my life. And that kind of, things went into a bit of a tailspin for me. Obviously, the depression from that, and I was at a low ebb, I'm not going to lie. I mean, you know, he was very supportive, as were my other brothers and other friends and stuff, but I was at that stage where I needed to make some changes in my life. And me and him spoke, and he said, you know what, Laurie, I'd like you to come on board and work with me. And at the time I was like, wow, you know, that's interesting. He kind of laid out how he wanted me to come on board. And I thought to myself, you know what, when things like that, when seismic things happen in your life, sometimes it forces you to rethink. So
recalibrate.
Exactly. So when he offered me that position within the company, I thought, you know, this is the start of something new. It could go well, it might not go well. But, you know, at that time, I was just looking for different things in life. So fortunately, I came on board and I've not looked back, man. Yeah, it's been good.
Nice, amazing, man.
What advice would you give?
So what advice would you give to someone starting up their own YouTube channel?
Yeah, you know what? That is a very good question, because obviously when my brother started up, it was many years ago. It's very different now. The market is quite saturated now, as I'm sure you guys are aware.
Short form content.
Yeah, man. Everyone wants to get involved.
Yeah, that's it.
You know what I mean? So, listen, like anything, you got to come up with a concept that you're happy with. You got to put the work in, man. It's a lot of work. I'm sure you guys, you know.
I'm telling you,
know
man.
what I mean? There's
A
a lot
grind
of
is
sleepless
non-stop.
nights.
Yeah, I'm telling you.
Your brain's constantly ticking over, trying to come up with ideas to improve and enhance the channel. Got to put the work in. You got to believe in yourself, man. And what I would advise a lot of people, if they want to get involved, is to try and seek out people already in the industry and try and get some kind of mentorship, you know what I mean? Get some advice, because there's a lot of pitfalls in this business, as I'm sure you guys know.
Yeah.
It's not all gravy, man.
No,
you know what I mean? It's a lot of hard work.
Definitely.
A lot of channels do not make lots of
you
money.
might go years before
man.
you hit that stone. But I think the thing is, you can't give up. There's always a picture. When I feel like I'm in the moment where I'm like, damn, this is tough. I always refer to this picture that I saw.
Yeah.
I think when I was like 16 years old, it was like there was someone, they're digging the tunnel. You might have seen it as well. They're digging through the tunnel and they get close to the diamonds.
Yeah.
But one of them keeps going and he gets to the diamonds, and then the other person turns back, but he doesn't know the diamons are like right there. One more tap and he would have hit the diamond. So
you start off with a dream, you know where you want to go, but things happen. You got to put the work in, you got to believe in yourself, you got to be honest and true to yourself as well. I mean, sometimes, again, I'm sure you guys would have come across this, where you can take different roads.
Yes.
You know what I mean? You're tempted to go down different roads, but you got to be true to yourself, believe in yourself, work hard. And there is a little bit of luck involved as well, I'm not going to lie.
Do you think you should have a plan B?
Yeah, I think so, definitely.
Maybe just because some people are like, nah, I got this dream, I'm going for it. Like, or do you think maybe you need that thing in case that one thing doesn't work out, you should have something else?
Yeah, I would always say that is a good idea. But then I've met some people, man, who have just thrown themselves single-handedly into it and said, listen, man, I'll make it no matter what. And, you know, they've done okay. So, but then there's been other guys I know have had a similar approach. It's not quite worked out for them. Yeah. And they've said to me, look, you know what, I'll give it a good shot. It's not quite worked out. But you know what it is, right? If you have an idea and you feel strongly enough that you want to commit to that idea, don't be too scared of failure. You know what I mean? Because sometimes in life, and I guess I've been guilty of this in the past as well, there's that fear of failure that, you know what I mean, will stop you from...
might hinder your progress.
I mean? So if you believe in what you're doing, you believe in yourself, and you're willing to commit to your project, go for it. You know what I mean? And that's what my brother done. And I've seen, he's had ups and downs, don't get me wrong. You know what I mean? He's had issues. You know, people have tried to come after him. It's like that, you know what I mean? It's like, you know what I mean? But you've got to believe in yourself. You've got to say there's going to be peaks and troughs, ebb and flow. Some people out there, man, they can be not nice people, you know what I mean? There's a lot of haters out there as well. But it all comes with the territory.
That's it. How do you deal with, like, the hate in general?
Yeah, I mean, you know what it is, right? I was chatting to my brother about this just the other day. So he gets a lot of love, man. I mean, I'm, for example, I'll go out with my brother places, just general places, and he gets so much love. I mean, we went to Carnival earlier in the year, and serious, it was difficult. We could difficult getting down, traveling 20 yards. The amount of people that were stopping and showing love, said, listen, bro, I'm not even an Arsenal fan, but I watch your content. I love what you're doing. Keep doing it, man. You know what I mean? You're an inspiration to the culture of the people out there. Go for it. And then you'll get other people who, for whatever reason, man, they just want to hate. You know what I mean? They'll just try and belittle you.
Is that online, or have you ever had someone in real life that said something?
Very few people are going to come up to you in real life and say
it's always online,
unless they're like yards down the road and 10, 15 man. So they'll shout things and then they're gone. You know what I mean? So you don't really take their man too serious. Online, as you can imagine, sometimes it can get a little bit like, you know what I mean? People will say things, you get the racist stuff, you know what I mean? But one thing about my brother as well, he's got quite a thick skin. And over the years, he's learned how to deal with that. And myself as well, because when I first started getting involved and I was going to games with him and certain situations with him, I was like, rah, man, don't you find this difficult? He said, yeah, you know what, at first I did, but now I'll just ignore it because the way he puts it to me is, and it's definitely true, he said, compared to the amount of love I get and the amount of respect and, you know what I mean, admiration I get from other people. One or two idiots shouting things or being brave online doesn't compare.
In
so
the whole
you just crack
scheme
on.
of things, in the grand scheme,
In the wider scheme of things, you just do your thing because you know, it goes back to what I was saying, if you believe in what you're doing, you don't allow those distractions to put you off course. You know what I mean?
Yeah, love that, man. I love that. As for the emotional insight, I think that's a good way to close that mindset insight. What is, like, have you ever had, so you do a lot of interviews on AFTV as well, you work there. Has there ever been any moment where, like, because you know they have heated debates on there as well. Like, I've seen it go off, Has there ever been any moment where you're like, oh man, maybe you've gone too far, or you might have said something that's like, oh, maybe you, like, some things get, you know, anything you've ever regretted saying on there, and it's been like, oh, okay, you went too far.
You know what? When I first came on board on the channel, I actually got prepped about stuff like that.
Is it?
So I've tried to just keep it. I'm very, like, people who know me, I'm quite opinionated, and I do like to express my opinion. But there's boundaries, you know what I mean? So, for example, you can say things, but you don't want to step over that line.
Don't make it
disrespectful or you're intensely personal. So you can critique or criticize somebody without making it too personal. But in answer to your question, one thing that a couple of mistakes I did make early on when I first started to become a content creator and a presenter is a couple of times I found myself engaging with people online, on Twitter and stuff like that. And I remember my brother saying, listen, man, it's a war that you're not going to win because people are always going to come up with stuff to unsettle you and try and upset you. So just don't bother with it. But me being me, sometimes your ego kind of takes over. So a couple of times the man were coming at me on Twitter and in comments and videos and I would respond to them. And then after a while I realised, man, the penny dropped. I thought, you know what, Robbie's right, man. Me responding to these guys, it's not really getting me nowhere. They're just getting me heated.
It's true. And
so I tend not to bother with them, man.
They want you to respond, man.
Yes, exactly. You know, because you might get a guy that's not got many followers or he's trying to get to you, you know what I mean?
That's it.
I'm sure you get this, you know what I mean? And they will try and trigger you and make some comments, you know what I mean? Some of them can be a bit personal or a bit whatever. And then you respond, and then they've got you. You know what I mean?
And now they're engaging now.
Yeah,
so more of your attention.
Yeah, my brother always says try and avoid the negativity as much as you can. So that would be my advice to people getting involved.
Nice. And like, how do you go? Because maybe a lot of people, they might put on maybe they put on a persona when they're on the camera. Do you find that a lot in your field, like where you meet a lot of people? Do you find that a lot of people like have a on-camera persona and then a real life persona?
Yeah, that's true. You know, a lot of people would say a lot, but I've seen some people act what I call act up. But you know what? It's a thin line, I guess, because obviously if you're interviewing somebody or creating content with somebody. Sometimes you do want them to come out of themselves a little bit and express themselves. What you don't want is somebody to not be keeping it real with who they are, you know what I mean? But there is a certain amount of journalistic license to, you know what I mean, enhance who you are as a person. So that does go on, definitely. You know what I mean?
What's been like the highlight of everything so far for you?
That's a great question, you know. You know what, I'm going to, this may sound slightly strange, but I'm very proud of what my brother's done overall. So for me, I'm just grateful to be involved and try and do my bit to enhance the company.
Are you the older brother?
I'm the older brother, So I've seen him develop this. I am, So I've watched him with, like I said earlier, just a camera and a microphone going to games in the freezing cold. Now the man's got like 1.6 million subscribers.
Crazy,
the subsidiary channels have got like 500,000 subscribers. And he's done well. And I see him and I'm proud of what he's done. I've seen the impact he's made on the community, the impact he's made within the culture. Like, you know what I mean? He does a lot of talks and, you know what I mean, mentoring for other, across the country. Even abroad, he's given talks. The other day he was in America, talking to people, you know, how to grow channels. You get a lot of kids. He's done talks in schools. He's brought me with him, and I've seen the effect that that's had on them, kids. So things like that make me very proud because I know that he's making a positive contribution to the culture.
Definitely.
And the way we were raised, my mum and dad always just try and impress upon us about the need to carry yourself a certain way. You know what I mean? So those things have given me a lot of pleasure seeing him do that. So I'm very proud of that. So yeah, I think that's nice, what I take from that. Yeah.
I love to hear that, man.
Yeah, man, it's all good, bro.
What was your favourite show on AFTV right now?
Damn, that's good, man. There's been so many shows. There was a show I was doing with a guy called Curtis. We used to call it Talk is Cheap.
Talk is Cheap, yeah.
I used to really like that show. We stopped doing it for a while. We're gonna try and revisit that format. We're gonna revisit it, but in a slightly different format in the new year. You know what? I like doing the watch-alongs that we do for games at the moment.
Yeah.
Yeah, man. There's a lot of wide-ranging content, and we're trying to come up with shows all the time.
Yeah.
So, yeah. Then my brother does some stuff with Yardi. Do you know Yardi? White Yardi?
Yeah. The bias.
Yeah.
I like the bias. I like the bias show.
Yeah.
But when it's like summer or the transfer season,
yeah, man. The transfer daily. I'm locked in. The transfer daily, man.
I'm locked in.
Yeah.
I'm locked in. It's like I wake up and I see it. I'm like, yeah, cool.
Yeah.
I check it. I watch it. I watch that one religiously.
I know my brother's very proud of that concept because I know he just come up with it like that. Because that's another good thing about him. He's what I call an ideas man.
Yeah.
He will come up with a lot of ideas. Some of them work great. Some of them not so good. Some of them don't work at all. But he's constantly thinking. He's constantly trying to evolve the channel. You need that. You know what I mean? You need to have that innovation and that creativity. So, yeah, man. But yeah, the Transfer Daily has been a big hit for the channel.
And it's good because when I was watching it at first, it was like I always saw Robbie on the channel, but then as time went on, you guys got other presenters on there too. So I like to see that as well. So
I'll let you know that, man. I'll let you know that.
It's like watching the news.
Yes,
it's like literally watching the. Because before AFTV, I'd probably watch Sky Sports to hear, and again, I think Sky Sports is biased against. They don't like Arsenal.
Yeah, well, you know what? You're not the first person to say that. Yeah.
So I was like, that's why when Arsenal Fan TV came about, for me it was like, wow, I'm actually hearing the true voice of what people, the true fans think.
Yeah. And you know what? That was the idea of it. It was like, he used to have this phrase, for the fans, or by the fans, for the fans. You know what I mean? So it was to create a space where the fans could come and have their say.
Yeah.
So directly after a game, you know, you're putting a microphone in front of the fans and say, look, what do you think of the game?
Yeah.
And that concept has worked so well because people ordinarily wouldn't get that opportunity.
Yeah.
And then if you add that to the explosion of social media now, you can see it's just created real space for lots of people who are not like bona fide journalists, but they can still have their say. Because a lot of men out there, you know what it is, man. They know their football, man. They've been watching it from time.
Definitely.
And not even notwithstanding, people want to have their say in it.
Yeah, exactly.
You know what I mean? It's that whole, what do they call it, the Monday morning quarterback syndrome. Everybody thinks they know what team should have been playing, what the formation should have been, the tactics, who should play here, who should play there.
Here's some detailed analysis. When I watch some of them interviews, I'm like, damn, you lot, they really know their football. Like
they do, man.
They're going in depth.
And they take this shit serious.
Serious,
man, you know what I mean?
Serious. That's like when I see the tactical show.
Yes, Tactical Insight.
Show.
Yeah.
I'm like, these guys are serious. This should actually be replacing Sky Sports or anything, you know.
And the level of detail that goes into it, shout out to James B.
Big up James B, man.
Bayliss. Great guy. The level of detail that he puts into that, trust me.
You can see.
You know what I mean? And the way it's filmed, the way the production, it's proper stuff.
Yeah,
you
definitely.
Know what I mean? So,
definitely.
Yeah, man. Big up.
Big him up. And that brings...
At JVH Studios, we provide high-quality video production. We also offer services in photography, building online brand awareness, social media management, and content strategies. We have expertise in shooting music videos, events, commercials, weddings, podcasts, fitness and fashion. With a team of professional, reliable and experienced directors, cinematographers, editors, marketing consultants and sound engineers, we have the equipment and skills to turn your vision into a reality. Interested to find out more about JVH Studios? Head over to our website for more info. That's www.jv8studios.com.
Us into the technical insight now.
Right.
So now we're gonna maybe delve a bit more into like the marketing side, or any like the maybe even some of the costs involved of making a channel, because you know you started off with a camera and the mic, but as time went on, it's evolved. It grew into a production, man. So like, what would you say has been what would you think is a big cost of running like a big production company?
Right. Well, I'll be honest, I'm not directly involved in the business side of things. That's kind of over my head. Yeah. But what I would say is, obviously working pretty close with my brother, he's got people on board that provide him with the necessary advice and, you know what I mean, what's the word I'm looking for? The professionalism that you need. You know what I mean? He's brought in people that help him in that regard. So he has accountants. Okay. You know what I mean? He has finance people assisting him and helping him. And, you know, they're part of the company as well. So they provide him with the right advice and how to do things properly, because that's very important. You know what I mean? Because man, you know what I mean, they think it's
that's it. You get imagine your video goes viral on YouTube, you get monetized, but then there's certain, maybe you have to set it up as a company, and then tax comes in and stuff like that.
All that stuff.
So you have to learn.
Because he employs staff, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And he's got a good team around him, but they're all dedicated in what they do. Everyone's got their jobs to do, and they do them well. And yeah, man, it's a proper operation. Yeah. It's a proper operation. So yeah. Nice. But as far as costs, I couldn't really tell you the direct cost. What I can say though, it's not cheap. Well, you know, you guys know that. Definitely. Yeah, I mean, you're buying equipment, you know, I mean, top of the range equipment, cameras, hiring out studio space, even down to content people that you getting on your channel. Oh yeah. A lot of these guys, man, you know what I mean? Some of them don't come cheap.
Yeah, true.
You know, I mean, they should get rewarded for what they do. I'm not saying that they shouldn't, but some of these guys are not cheap, you know what I mean? You know what I mean? They come and they provide you with content, but they want to be rewarded for it, which is fair enough.
Yeah,
so,
fair. So. Fair enough. And
so it's a proper business model. Yeah. And my brother, over the years, he's taken people on board that will help him in that regard. So I think that works quite well, you know. So yeah.
And when it comes to like, that was what I was gonna say. If they've set their channel up now, they got a nice following, they got a fan base. How does someone actually get monetized and get like the sponsorships? Because a lot of people they ask me that. That's what they want me to find out on the show. They ask me, how do you get sponsors for your channel, or like how do you get product placement and stuff like that?
Yeah, that is a big part of it, especially these days. Sponsorship, as you know, man, can help fund your channel. Listen, you can reach out to certain sponsors, but as you know, that's kind of difficult. A lot of the time, depending on the type of content you produce, it will attract certain sponsors. But your blue chip guys, it's kind of hit and miss, you know what I mean? It may or it may not be there, but you kind of have to actively go out and promote your product. Like I know that for my brother, for example, without wishing to give away too many trade secrets. So he's got a few people within the company that will reach out to certain people that you can align your content with.
Okay.
So advertisers will look at that. Actually, the kind of content you do kind of aligns with what we do. So it makes for a good fit. But sometimes they're easily lost as well. You know what I mean? Some of these companies,
if they don't like, they might the views are not where it wants to be.
Sometimes these companies, they ask for a lot. And you know what I mean? And if your numbers dip even slightly, they will say, well, actually, you was contracted to get X amount of views. You've not quite done that. Yeah, it's like that, bro. Or you alternatively, it's very cutthroat. Yeah. You might get somebody on your channel that they might think doesn't align with their business model as well. So there's all sorts of little
you have to find
situations,
the partnership that works.
But what my brother's done, again, he's got a couple of people that work with him that have advised him and, you know what I mean, tried to open up certain avenues in that regard. And it's worked quite well for him. So I guess he's been quite fortunate, as well as having the number. Because what... one thing I would say is that when you see a channel and you might say they've got 1 million subscribers, it's not always about the subscribers, it's more about the views.
Okay, so
it's not necessarily. A lot of people think, if I've got 1 million subscribers, man, sponsors going to come in. I'm going to be inundated with sponsorship. It's not quite like that. They all want to know
how many views you get.
Yeah, they will like really dig deep into the analytics. You know what I mean?
Oh, so they want to see.
They want to see. What views you get,
where the views are coming from,
where they're coming from, what part of the world they're coming from. I mean, so for example, my brother's company, AFTV, they do very well in some of the different places throughout the world, like Africa is a big.
Yeah, I can imagine.
Yeah, you get a lot of views in that part of the world. Asia, you know what I mean? South America.
Yeah.
America, Australia.
America,
you know what I mean?
you guys. So you guys go there.
So you can imagine. You get sponsorships and business deals from those types of places because you're doing well in that part of the world. It's quite deep the way they analyse the analytics. You know what I mean? So.
It's just good. It's a lot to think about. So
man,
you guys, if you're doing a YouTube channel, think about that. Think about your audience you want to attract as well. So with that too.
So it's like mind-boggling really because people think of it as just having a channel, but you guys will know because you're doing great things yourself. It's so much more than that.
That's it.
You know what I mean?
Got to think about it as a business,
and it's constantly evolving. And like I was saying before as well, it's almost like the market is getting saturated now. So when my brother first set up AFTV, like I said, that was back in 2012. What's that? Like getting on
11 years ago.
As you can imagine, the marketplace is changing. So many different channels coming on board doing a similar or the same types of thing. So you've constantly got to innovate, evolve. You know what I mean? Try and do different things, or what you're doing, make sure you're doing it better than other people, you know what I mean? So, yeah, man.
Facts, man, facts.
It's a big thing.
It's true.
You know what I mean?
Nice.
So, yeah.
What do you think about Arsenal right now?
Things are going well. I mean, I say that, but we lost yesterday.
Let's talk about it, man, because...
Yeah, let's do that, man.
Boy, what do you think? Like, what are you thinking this season?
You know what, I'm quite optimistic for this season. Although, if I'm being honest, I was asked at the start of the season, do I think we can win the league? I said, I do think we can win the league. However, I wouldn't necessarily put us as favourites. Because if you think about it, the team is still growing, still got a young manager. And listen, you know, you're learning on the job. But I mean, up until yesterday, we were topping the table.
That's it,
in both the Premier League and our Champions League group. So far, so good. I mean, it's only, 16 games in.
Yeah. So we still got...
So there's still plenty of time.
Plenty of time, yeah.
Plenty of time. I do think we will definitely be there or thereabouts come the end of the season.
Yeah.
I'd love to be able to come in your show and say, we're going to win the league. But you know your football. You know, it doesn't necessarily work.
It might not work out like that. But I'm gonna make my prediction for top 4. Right?
I'm definitely down with that.
I'm going to say... All right, I'm going to say, realistically, I'm going to go Liverpool.
Oh, Liverpool, right.
Liverpool,
right.
Arsenal, Villa, City.
Right. Yeah, you know, what about Newcastle? What about Tottenham?
Tottenham 5th, Newcastle 6th.
All those things could be true.
Yeah.
I mean, I noted that you had Arsenal second. I had us second as well. I think, you know what it is, right? It's fine margins. And it also depends on how we do in the transfer market come January. I mean, personally, I would like to see us bring in what I call a prolific striker, a 20-goal a season.
Saying, Ivan Toney.
We
were talking about Brentford fan, so we were just having a little debate off camera.
Because although I'm really happy with Jesus, I think he's an excellent player. Yeah. Technically, he's just not
prolific, man.
I think he even gave an interview a couple of weeks ago himself where he said that scoring goals is not his main strength, which some people kind of balked at when he said that. But I see where he's coming from, having watched him up close and personal so many times. He's a brilliant player, don't get me wrong, and he will get you goals. Yeah. But whether you can rely on him to get you 20 plus Premier League goals a season, I'm not so sure.
When you got Haaland banging in 40 goals,
exactly.
It's like you need. But is there even a striker out there at the moment like that?
I think Tony could be that guy, you know. And if you add him to what we got already, I think he would be a tremendous asset. Mm-hmm. But hey, it's all subjective, isn't it? The manager. I mean, there's talks that we're looking at a midfielder to come in January. Who knows?
Yeah, that's the
thing. Then you've got to take into account injuries, loss of form, ebbs and flow, other teams, you know what I mean? So it's very competitive, man, the Premier League.
And then...
so, I mean, I would love to sit here and say right now that we're going to win the league.
It's too tight. It's too.
But it's going to be very tight. It's going to be very tight.
What's your top? Give me a top 4.
Top 4.
Yeah.
I say I'll put Arsenal first right now.
Go on.
Yeah, I like the optimism.
Go for it. Yeah.
But you can't really. I have to say Arsenal, City,
Yeah.
Liverpool, Aston Villa.
Okay.
That sounds good to me.
Yeah.
I'll take that.
But
at the start of the season, when I was asked, I did say City, but I did also say that we're very capable of winning and we will push them right.
Yeah.
I reckon it could even come down to the last game of the season.
Yeah.
It could be that time.
At the end, they can just go on some mad run.
That's
what City do.
That's it.
That's what City do.
But one thing for certain, this season we need to win a trophy.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
We need a trophy this season. It can't be FA Cup.
One of them.
Yeah.
Because the FA Cup is.
Last season, it's like I feel spoiled now.
Yeah.
Because I've seen the height we can go to.
That's right.
And now I'm like, nah. Yeah, they tease us now. I'm like,
the tease, man.
Yeah, now I'm like.
That's what I was saying as well. The weight of expectation is now different because we went so close last year. And let's face it, even last year, some people were saying, "Oh, we bottled it, this and that." But if you actually look at it properly, I don't think we bottled it. I think what happened was right in that final run-in towards the end of the season when City went on that great run and that, it also coincided with us losing a couple of our best players. Remember, Saliba was out.
Yes.
And he was by far our best defender last season. And that did take a toll because the guys...
Just before he took a break, he had Jesus as well last season.
Yeah.
But that's
injuries to big pivotal players.
Yeah.
That, we didn't have a deep squad. So the guys that come in, as I said before, no disrespect to them, but they weren't at the level. It was a big drop-off. And that affected us. And of course, it coincided with City. They always go on that late run.
Yeah, exactly.
And we were just found wanting at the end. But it wasn't, I don't think we discombobulated. I don't think we bolted it. I think it was just City were a better team than us. And in the end, it showed, you know what I mean? But I think this year now, because let's face it, man, sport is a lot like a lot of things. It's levels. We've upped our levels this year. And I do think that come the end of the season, like I said, I think it could go down to the final game of the season, or at least the final couple games.
100%. 100%.
It ain't going to be one of them where City just walk away with it, or even Arsenal or Liverpool.
Yeah.
It's going to be tight. I think Liverpool will be in there as well. And I think Villa, the way they're going now, I mean, what was that? Yesterday they beat us. I think that's 15 consecutive home wins.
Wow.
For Villa. So that type of
and
home
Unai
form.
Emery has got that. He's got a point to prove.
Yeah, yes, man. Yeah, for real.
Lot, yeah?
Yeah.
People don't forget, when you did wrong. They don't forget.
I mean, listen, at the end of the day,
I think we
all know he's an Arsenal manager.
I think he should have stayed.
Yeah, it's interesting because, be honest, right, when he did get sacked from Arsenal, not too many people were saying it was a wrong thing. We knew he was a good manager, but what it is sometimes in management, as in life, sometimes it wasn't the right fit at that time.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? He came in at a period where we were going through some issues. Wenger had gone, and then we had Ljungberg, and then he come. It didn't quite work out.
I think he lost the dressing room.
Yeah, you know what I mean? Things didn't quite work out. So at the time, it was probably best to part ways, which is what happened. But that doesn't mean to say he's not a very good manager. He's proven that.
Yeah.
Now he's come back to the Premiership. If you remember as well, he got offered the Newcastle job. He turned that down, went to Villa, and now look, you know what I mean? So he's obviously a man that knows what he wants.
Yeah,
you know what I mean? So,
of course, man.
Yeah.
I think,
Arteta's got. If he doesn't win anything this season, he's on thin ice.
Yeah, I think you're right.
I think he's got this season to prove himself, realistically.
I mean, if you look at Arteta, so what, he took over, 2019 or something like that?
Yeah, 2019.
Yeah, so his first 2 seasons, I think he had 2 8th place finishes, which, is below par. Yeah, he got the FA Cup, but in the Premier League, he had 2 8th place finishes. Then he went 5th, so we still missed out on Champions League. And then, of course, last year we come second. So if you look at the trajectory, it's upwards. But you are right. The fans, the weight of expectation now has shifted. They'll be expecting him to win a trophy. And like my man here said, FA Cup's not going to do it for a lot of the fans. You know what I mean? For me, listen, I would take the FA Cup.
I'll take it.
Yeah, but we want to... Yeah, because we are I think we're the record winners of the FA Cup. I think it's like 14 FA Cup wins.
Yeah, we've won it the most.
Yeah,
I like the FA Cup, but
you're expecting more now. You're expecting more.
Yeah. Which is understandable.
Yeah.
Fans are looking at once you, like you said, sometimes you can be a victim of your own success.
Yeah.
You go close, people say, okay, you went close. Next year, man, you got to win it. You know.
Yeah,
and of course, we've spent money in the transfer market.
Yeah.
So the weight of expectation is different this year. Yeah.
What do you think of Havertz? Because I know he's against Havertz. He's Havertz out.
Yeah,
he's Havertz out.
The last 2-3 games that he's been doing good.
Yeah, he played well yesterday as well. Yeah.
65 mil.
Yeah, I mean, let's be honest. When he first come to the club, he's come to the club, £65 million, big reputation, big price tag. Let's be honest, he wasn't that great at Chelsea. So a lot of the fans were already speculating as if to say, right, are you sure about this guy, man? Because he's not blowing up any trees at Chelsea. We knew he was a good player, but he's not quite hit the heights. And his form in the first, couple of months was not great, let's be honest. So it's only right that the fans question, you know what I mean? Of course they're going to do that. However, the form's picked up, so it's looking like he might be that guy, which I hope he does go on to do. So
it's for real, 'cause that's a big
that is a
risk.
big one. But Rice, on the other hand, man, he's been a revelation.
He's just, I knew he would hit the ground running, though. I knew. I could see it. What do you think, dude? Do you think Arteta's got, do you think he needs to win something this season, or is out, or do you think he's got a few more years before, even if he doesn't win?
Good question. I don't think they'll get rid of him if we don't win anything, but I do think if we don't win anything, there'll be a lot of pressure. Yeah. Because, like I said, and I've said it before, but it is true, the weight of expectation now is different.
It's heavy now.
Fans are not like last year, let's be honest, when we come second, it took a lot of people by surprise. I've got to be honest, even me. I wasn't expecting us to challenge City in that way and come second, but we did. But having said that, now that bar has been set, people saying, listen, man, you did that. Not only that, you've been supported in the transfer market by the owners.
Say not Arsenal fans,
you know what I mean? So we want to see something.
Money.
You know what I mean? Yeah. So
100. We want to see.
But I'm optimistic that we can. I mean, look, we're doing really well in the Champions League as well. We're top in our group. Yeah. So we're doing well in that.
How far do you think we can get in the Champions
I think we can go far, man. I must admit, I've watched quite a lot of Champions League football this season. And I'm looking at the teams, and no disrespect, but I'm not seeing any teams out there that frighten me. You know what I mean? So I think we can do well. I mean, we haven't been in the Champions League for so long now, so obviously
I think there's
it's slightly different European football, slightly more nuanced, it's slightly slower, a bit more tactical, you know what I mean? But even so, I mean, you could argue that the group that we're in the Champions League that we've been in is not the strongest. I would agree with that.
Yeah, I'd say that.
But even so, those teams, man, we kind of brushed them aside. We had that one blip against Lens. Yeah. But then in the return fixture, we beat them 6-0. So, you know what I mean? So I'm optimistic, man. I think we can go far. Obviously, it depends on the draw as well. There's a couple of teams in there that you wouldn't want to play too early. Real Madrid.
The Madrid
teams like that. Bayern Munich. And maybe even PSG on a hot day when Mbappe's firing. But apart from that, bro, you look across the landscape, there's not too many teams there that I would be worried about. And on our day, if we get it right, I think we're capable of any of those teams.
Team, that's what I'm saying.
You know what I mean? So
good form.
I'm looking forward to it.
You've got it.
Yeah, man.
What do you think's harder, winning the Premier League or Champions League? Not just
get
for
asked
Arsenal,
this so lot,
but in general.
I get asked this a lot, man. It is a good question. You know what? I think, I mean, may sound a little bit disingenuous because we've not won the Champions League in our history. Yeah. But just by sheer logistics, I think winning the Premier League is harder because it's week in, week out.
I'd agree
it's
with
very
that.
physical, it's very intense. And on any given day, you saw it happen yesterday at Villa, we weren't quite at it, we got beat. Even when we played Luton a few days before that, man, you know what I mean?
It's like
we struggled to put them away.
Yeah. I say Premier League's like coursework, and then Champions League is like an exam. It's like an exam.
So you can fluke your way into it.
You can fluke your way out of the exam, but the coursework, you got to do your research on the coursework.
Man.
You got to put in actual work.
That's right. Yeah, and it's such a long haul. Yeah. Physical, intense.
Yeah, it's intense.
And everyone's coming at you. When you're a club like Arsenal as well, man, you know what I mean? You got a target on your back.
100%.
You know what I mean? Everyone wants to beat you, man. Yeah. I mean, you saw the way the Villa fans were yesterday. When they won that game, man, that was like they'd won a trophy.
Yeah, exactly.
You know what I mean?
They were.
Yeah. Added to that, being a London club like Arsenal, one of the big clubs in London, there's so many London derbies.
Yes.
You know what I mean? So you got to factor
Tottenham,
all those
West
things
Ham,
into it.
Chelsea,
It's a long, hard
Fulham,
slog.
Brentford.
So yeah, I would say winning the Premier League is probably harder, but winning the Champions League is probably a bit more prestigious because then you could call yourself champions of Europe and everything that goes with that. So
that's it. That makes perfect sense.
But yeah.
Nice, cool. So moving on from there now, we got into the philosophical insight, something light, something light-hearted.
Okay.
Ace, you want to tell him the question? This is the day.
Go for it.
Your flip a coin one.
Oh yeah. What would you prefer? 100k in your pocket right now, or flip a coin for 5 now?
That's a great question, man. Yeah. Given the way I am as a person, I'm not really a risk taker like my brother. If you ask my brother that question, he'd probably say flip the coin. Me,
5 mil or 100k?
I know, man. I know.
That's life changing.
But if you guarantee me the 100k, then maybe I could use that to get to that 5 mil in future.
Yeah.
So I think I'll go for the 100k.
If you get the 5 mil, you could flip that to like 100.
It could. That's true also.
Someone's point was, because at first when they said 5 mil, I couldn't understand it. But their point was that they didn't have it before. Yeah. So whether or not they win it or not, they didn't have it before. So it's like,
a question like that is an interesting insight into someone's personality. Because like I said, if you ask my brother that question, I'm pretty sure he'd say the 5 mil. Because that's how he kind of views life. It's about taking risks and, you know what I mean? Okay, you get the 100k, it's guaranteed. But what if I get that 5 mil?
5 mil, yeah.
You know what I mean? It's how you approach things, you know?
True.
But it's an excellent question, I do. Yeah. But yeah, give me the 100k. Have you got it now?
Hey,
I'll take it now.
Next season. Man, if that bet, I saw you put a bet on Arsenal to win the Champions League. If that comes through, that's a nice 100k there, right?
That's what I call the bag. You know what I mean? Give me that bag.
What would you rather have, superior intelligence or superior athleticism?
Damn. You know what? I think I'd go for the superior intelligence. You know why? Because with athleticism, as much as I love athletics and, you know what I mean, we all want to be that guy.
You can be the best in any sport.
Yeah.
No, you're the best in every sport.
Yeah, every sport. So you can go and you can be the top. Go into any sport and be the top in every one. Be that top guy.
It's very tempting.
Yeah.
It's very tempting.
Yeah.
But you know what?
Literally.
You know what they say about athleticism and stuff? Father time catches up with you.
That's true. Let's say...
I would rather the superior intelligence, because once you've got the intellect, it stays with you for life.
Yeah.
The athleticism, as you can be, look at Usain Bolt, one of the greatest, if not the greatest athletes ever. But by 35-6,
that's it.
those physical gifts are on the wane, and there's a new guy on the block. So yeah, I'd like to be both. But yeah, man.
If they pick one, intelligence.
Yeah, I'd have the superior
Cool.
intelligence.
Then the next one, 3,000 a month, doing nothing. You can't make any additional money. Just have 3,000 a month.
Just a flat $3,000 a month.
Yeah. And that's yours to do what you want.
No job, you just
no job, you just chill. Yeah.
Right.
Or 100k a month, but you work in 12-hour days.
I think the latter suits me better.
Yeah.
Because one thing about me...
Construction site, hard labour.
Yeah, I don't mind hard work, man. I don't mind hard work. And one thing about me, my threshold of boredom is quite low. So if I had the $3,000, I'm just sitting at home. It would kill me.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? I'm the type of guy I like to... I much prefer to be too busy than not busy.
7 days a week, would you do it?
As long as my health holds up.
Yeah.
I do like to be kept busy.
100k
you know?
a month,
It's like this morning, I woke up and I'm thinking, damn, I can't wait to come down here. It gives me something to look forward to, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Sitting at home, that's cool.
Yeah.
But when you've got things to look forward to, when you've got purpose in life, you operate much better,
That's true.
in my opinion.
Yeah,
You know what I mean?
Yeah, I like that. What's more important, time or money?
I would say time, because you can't
agree with
get
that.
back time, man. I mean, if
What
you've got a
do you-
bunch of money and you lose it, you can win it back.
That's it.
Time, you will never get that back. And I've discovered that too in my life growing
Time is
up.
the most
you know what I mean?
important
Yeah,
thing.
man.
What do you need more of, though?
Time.
Yeah.
Time. I mean, don't get me wrong, we need money,
Yeah.
but if you've got the time, you can make the
make
money.
money, yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So, yeah.
Nice. One other. Okay, cool. Let's go into the dilemma.
Dilemmas?
Dilemma, yeah.
I've had a few in my life. So
Where we all,
I think
man.
I'm qualified to talk.
Yeah. So I've got one here. I think You was here when we talked about it, but I wanted to get your opinion on it.
By the way, that guy spoke really well, man.
Yeah, definitely.
He's a very articulate young man.
Moby, big up Moby One. If you're watching this.
Actually, I'm going to check out some of it. He's a rapper, right?
Yeah. Definitely
so
check out
some of his content.
Definitely.
Because the way he speaks, I know he's got a way with words. You know, like when you hear a certain man, you think, man, that guy.
You can hear his music. It's like, I'll leave you to hear it.
I'll definitely check him out. Yeah.
This is the one I want to get your opinion on because you worked in corporate.
Right. Okay.
Yeah. So this is the dilemma. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yo, I'm dealing with some real stuff at work. No, wait. This is I'm dealing with some real stuff at work, and I could use some advice. I'm a black man working in corporate finance in London, and it's wild because the staff be dropping racial jokes about blacks and Asians.
Been there.
Yeah. You see, it's messing with me, but I'm hesitant to speak out because I don't want to mess up the chance of me moving up in the company. I'm torn between standing up for what's right and keeping my career on track. Got any advice on how to deal with this?
I can understand why you would want to avoid the types of hassle that will come with tackling the situation. But my advice to anybody, and indeed I've been there at certain levels before in my life, I would always want to tackle it. And I'll tell you why, because number one, if you don't tackle things like that, they fester. And what happens when things fester? It can explode. Secondly, I think something like that, as a black person, you owe it not just to yourself, but people coming after you to make a stand. Now, when I say make a stand, I'm not saying get out there and start shouting, jump, because that's what the racists expect you to do. You know what I mean? But you can approach things, so you can try and go through the company's procedures, the HR, you know what I mean? You try and get representation, maybe get a letter, meet with people and say, look, man, this is happening. I'm not happy about it. I don't think it's funny. Maybe the guys didn't mean it to be malicious, but I personally do not find this funny. And seek to address it and make sure it's on the record. That's one thing I would always tell people. If you've got issues at work, make sure it's on the record. Because if you ever get to a tribunal stage, because I've been a shop steward before in my lifetime, you've got to have these things documented.
On record,
And it makes your case much easier if you do.
What if, let's say you told HR, but what if his colleagues get like mad at him because they might have felt like, why didn't you say it to them? Why didn't you confront them first? Or why didn't you let them know kind of thing? What do you think about that? Or does it really matter?
I guess it depends on the relationship you have with those people at the time. So if you've got a good working relationship and a guy makes a little joke and you think, rah, I mean, what's all that about? You might be inclined to say to the guy, listen, man, I know you didn't mean to upset me, but actually I do find that offensive. So if you've got that kind of relationship with a person, then you can deal with it that way. But you've got to be careful because by doing that, just dealing with a person, when things get hot now, he'll say, but me and him spoke, man. I thought he was cool with it. So you've got to have things on the record. Exactly. So you've got to have things on the record. And my previous experience in workplaces is, if you have it on the record and you let people know, high up, that I'm not happy with this situation, they all get called to account at some point, because you can go to whoever. If you go to a tribunal or court or whatever, you will say, well, listen, man, I told Josh, I said, listen, man, this is happening. It's on your watch. I let you know. The fact that you didn't do anything about it, that's on you, not me. So you're protecting yourself as well.
That is true.
So, so that's how I would do
that. Solid advice, man. Solid advice. I hope that helps, man. I really hope that helps.
Yeah, you normally find that helps. Escalate it, man.
Escalate it.
Even if you ain't got to be like all loud and thing with it, aggressive with it, but just know within yourself that if you escalate it and do it in the right way, go through the right channels, ultimately you will come off best.
Nice, solid advice. Yeah.
Thanks. Man.
Cool. The second one now. This one's like a relationship type of thing that they've sent in. Yeah. So they said, love the show. I'm a single mum of 2. I broke up with my baby daddy last year. Yeah. And I've been seeing someone new for the past 3 months.
Okay.
I'm thinking about when is a good time to introduce them to my child.
Wow. Right. Yeah.
I don't know how my baby father would react, as he's still obsessive over me.
Wow.
Yeah. And he still plays a big role in the child's life.
Yeah.
How should I handle this? 3 months.
Yeah, that is. You know what? I'm gonna, without betraying too much confidence, I kind of been in a situation like that in reverse, whereby you know what I mean. And what I would say is, it's up to the person concerned to know when the time is right. So it's dependent on the situation, really, innit? Because, like I said, similar things happened to me in the past where I've been introduced to a girl, and I found out that she's had. Well, she told me that she had kids, and she said to me at the time, "Listen, man, you know things are difficult because I've been through a situation with the kid's dad, and he still wants me back, and you know, what I mean, he's using the kids as, you know, what I mean, because kids can get in the way of things, you know what I mean." And what I did is I was like, "Listen, you try and." I'm happy to meet with this guy because, you know what I mean, me and you got a relationship and my intentions are honourable. Let him know that, you know what I mean, it's no, like, you know what I mean, no arms out or nothing like that. And then in time, we managed to sort something out whereby everything was cool.
Yeah, it's amicable.
Yeah, but it's all parties have to be responsible.
That's what I was, this is what I was thinking, because if she just goes for it, it could risk, like, this situation could blow up.
Yeah, because emotions are involved. I mean, in the example you gave, you said that the guy's slightly obsessive.
Yeah,
we've all been there, innit? We've all been out of a girl that they've got an ex and the guy can't handle the situation.
Won't leave it alone.
You know what I mean? So you're thinking, rah. And sometimes it can actually damage your relationship with the girl because you're thinking to yourself, I really like this girl, man, but do I really want to take on all this? You know what I mean? But then sometimes you think, actually, I do like the girl. We things are going well. I've just got to try and speak to this guy and let him know, say, listen, man, there's no hard feelings. You and her were together, but me and her are together now. With respect, you know what I mean? It is what it is. You haven't got to worry about me as far as the kids are concerned. Try and have an adult conversation and see how that goes.
Yeah, that's it. And what do you think, Ace? Do you think it's too? Should she wait like 3 months? Is 3 months enough time even?
I think personally, 3 months. Yeah, I wouldn't really. After 3 months, because I'm like, man, I even like the person next month without.
There's a lots of different factors involved. You know what I mean? Like,
but the fact that the ex is
3 months.
Huh? Say again?
3 months. That's like.
It's quite a short amount of time.
It would also depend on how old the kids are as well. Because if they're very young and impressionable kids, you might not want to be introduced to them too early because they're used to seeing their dad, and all of a sudden you walk in.
Yeah, it's gonna be like
the kids are a bit confused. You know what I mean? So there's so many factors.
I think she has to sort out her past before she consults the future.
Yeah, absolutely. I think you're absolutely right. So, and the one thing I would say, man, you're hoping that wise heads will prevail, you know what I mean? Because like I said, there's emotions involved. So even as the boyfriend, you've got to kind of look at it a long-term thing and say, listen, man, okay, like you said, try and sort it out between yourselves. And then you introduce yourself to the guy and say, listen, I'm going out such and such. I know you had feelings for her, but, you know what I mean, it's me and her now. I just want to let you know, bro.
That's it.
My intentions are honourable. I'm not trying to step on you. I'm not trying to intrude on your relationship with your kids, you know what I mean? But I'm here, you know what I mean? And hope that will be enough. But as we know, man,
it doesn't always work out like that.
And I can speak for experience.
You might get more vexed.
Because listen, man, we all know that some people don't take rejection nicely in whatever form of life, especially in relationships. So luckily, I've not had that jealous gene. So I've been, you know what I mean, we've all had situations in life where it didn't quite go right for you. And I like to think I can walk away without being, you know what I mean? But some man, they find it more difficult.
Some man can't let go.
And especially when kids are involved, bro.
Or should that guy just let go and just be like, oh, she's moved on. She's moved on. Should he be
She's moved on, but then you've got to remember that he still has a right to see his children.
That's it.
And see, that is the difficulty of when you're involved in a relationship like that. Because it's not just like you and her now. It's you, her, and the kids.
Still going to have to see, exactly.
And unfortunately, and we've seen it in men and women, people can what I call weaponize kids, use that as a weapon. Like, you get the guy that don't want to let go, so then what he does he says, listen, I want to see my youth them. You can't stop me from seeing. And I can't.
Yeah, it's true.
But are you using that to intrude? Or is it honourable? You know what I mean? It's so messy, man.
Yeah.
It's messy, bro.
Yeah. So sort out your past before you can
Yeah.
That's probably it, yeah.
Like I said, you hope that wise heads will prevail.
Yeah, wise heads will prevail.
Wise heads will prevail.
I love that, man. That brings us to the end of the show. Any closing advice that you want to send or any closing out message?
You know what? I just want to say thanks for the opportunity, bro. I really enjoyed it.
Appreciate that.
I really like your setup.
Yeah.
We met a couple months ago, innit?
That's it. Yeah.
And I always knew then that you had a positive thing going on, man. So yeah, just my advice to you would be just keep going, man, because I like your vibe. I like what you're trying to do. It's a positive thing. Just keep at it, man. You know what I mean? Keep at it. Keep positive. Keep put the work in. Believe in yourself, and you will get there. You will achieve for sure.
100% facts, man. We love that. Big up again for featuring on the show. And it's been Creative Insight Podcast. If you have any dilemmas that you want to send through to us, send it on the Instagram. Yeah, just DM it, anonymous. We'll discuss it on the show. We'll try and help you get a solution to it. If you're enjoying the content, make sure you like, comment, subscribe. Yeah, go check us out on YouTube, Insta, TikTok. Follow us, all of that. Yeah, big up, and we're out.